Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Kay Marie and Ali Moreno in the studio. We've also got Gab Marcotti and Nedum Onuoha with us as well. And I cannot even tell you about the bromance that's been going on between Ali and Nedum before we were on tonight.
Look, there's chemistry. What can I tell you?
Sparks flying.
There's an energy you just cannot describe. You know, the same chemistry and energy that I do not have with Gab, I have with Nedum.
Brilliant.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Gab. That is definitely worth a shake of the head as well. I concur. All right, first question for Ali. Look, Gab's not happy with that.
That's all right.
And nor should he be.
We'll make up. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well,
we'll have our moment.
I'm not sure where, but we'll find it. We'll find a spot. All right, Ali. Since Pedri returned from injury in January, his level of play has been incredible. And with the year ending with the World Cup, do you think if he continues at this level with Barca and Spain, it will be fair to say what Xavi said, that he is the best player at his position?
Well, yes. It's a lot of ifs in that question, but yes, you have to imagine that if he has yet another outstanding international tournament, because he was outstanding in the Euros for Spain, he does that again in the World Cup and continues to develop at the rate in which he has developed over the last couple of seasons, then sure, I have no problem saying that Pedri will be the best in his position. He has been outstanding for Barcelona over the last couple of months. All
right. Nedum, who's the funniest teammate you've ever had?
The funniest, probably when he gets going, probably Micah Richards. You know, he's somebody that's very, very lighthearted with everything that he does, and the laugh that some people see when he's doing the broadcasting now, I've literally heard that for 15 years. So I'd probably say him, yeah, for sure.
That laugh from Micah Richards just makes everything even funnier. What about you, Ali?
Does it count what we do here as teammates?
I think so.
Yes, in ESPN FC.
Yeah. I know who you're going to say.
Well, I could say Dan because he's naturally an outgoing guy. But Stevie is the funniest person you can be around because he doesn't even try to be funny.
Nope.
It's just him being himself and the things that he does on a daily basis. Even how he eats soup is funny. That's how funny Stevie Nicol is. And it's not in a good way. You look at the guy playing golf and how he dresses at the golf course. That's funny as well. And he doesn't mean it to be a joke, which is actually what makes it the funniest guy I've been around.
How does he eat soup? I've not seen him eating soup.
Well, he puts this big old napkin thing because he does this thing like he tucks the napkin like here and he covers the whole suit that he's wearing because he doesn't want to get it on his glorious outfit that he's wearing, on the tie, those combinations that he has for ties that are so well selected and well picked out. Stevie's great. It's fantastic to be around. And what makes him funny is that he doesn't even know he's being funny.
I know. Go check out yesterday's Extra Time on my Twitter feed to see Stevie acting as a referee. It's very funny. And he is
Did you
hilarious.
just plug your Twitter your timeline there? You use Extra Time for that, Kay?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Shameless. All right, Gab. What has happened with UEFA's proposed punishment of Super League members? It seems since the thing collapsed, everyone has shrugged their shoulders and moved on.
Well, they got an injunction from a court in Madrid because the Super League clubs put their case forward to the European Court of Justice, arguing that that effectively UEFA are a monopolist because they're a competition organizer and a regulator all at once, and so they got legal advice that until this case is resolved, they can't go ahead and punish them.
Next one is for Nedum. Start, bench, or drop. We've been getting a lot of these. But it's in the form of a club, Nedum.
Okay, here we go.
Manchester City, QPR, or Real Salt Lake?
Oh my God. What's the audience like? Is this a big American audience or is it UK based? I need to figure out who I need to be right now. Which one is it?
No.
I would never do that.
No. Just give us your honest answer. That's all we want. Honesty is the best policy, Nedum. That's all.
Oh, for God's sake.
Remember, we're available on YouTube worldwide.
Okay, emotionally, I'm going to have to do it through time spent. So start City, bench QPR, and then unfortunately drop RSL, because unfortunately I wasn't there for long enough.
That's such a cheap way out.
Yeah, yes.
That was the longest.
Yes.
Yeah. Which means he'd drop us straight away.
Well, he would.
Like,
Yes.
We'd be sold, wouldn't we, here
without
at
a doubt.
ESPNFC?
Without a doubt. You're not even part of the conversation. Gone, done, irrelevant, move on, whatever.
Well, whatever happened to the love, Nedum didn't last long enough. I'm coming back to you, Gab. Coming back to you, Gab.
There's
Thank
the
you.
space. Gab, you shouldn't let him in. You should be like, no, that ship's sailed. Right, next question's
You
for
know,
Gab.
I am
Gab.
far too kind. You know, deep down, I can't deny my feelings. We know we have vowels on the end of our names. We have chemistry. Of course, Nedum has a vowel on the end of his last name too. So, what are you going to do?
Oh, vowels on the end of the name. Is that what it's about, is
Well,
it?
we also spend a lot of time together in various restaurants across Europe, in which Gab has told us various histories of those very restaurants.
And the Gab rules of what you
Yes,
can and can't eat.
you can and cannot order, but let's not go there because that's a sensitive subject. If you go out with Gab, he won't allow you to order. He's going to order for you. I'm just saying.
Okay, I look forward to it, Gab. It's not happened yet. All right, Gab, are Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea as a trio right now as good as the Milan, Juventus and Inter sides of the early to mid 2000s?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would actually make the point that I'm not sure the Inter sides of that period were necessarily as good as the other one, as good as Chelsea are now. So if you look at Liverpool, City, and Chelsea, you're talking about, you know, Liverpool and Chelsea have won the Champions League very recently. All three have won the Premier League relatively recently. Inter, of course, didn't win Serie A for a very long time. So I would, you know, if you're looking at the cumulatively, I would probably put these three ahead of those two, because Inter around that time, I don't think we're on a par with the others.
There you go, Inter dragging the others down. Dragging the others down just to please the Serie A fans. All right, Ale, what was it like as a player when David Beckham came to MLS? As a fan, I couldn't believe it was happening.
What it was is a guaranteed 100% sellout whenever David Beckham came into town. The level of attention that he commanded was beyond the soccer fan. It was a pop culture story, and he is a crossover athlete in that he garnered attention everywhere he went. So the Beckham experiment worked out for MLS in the sense that it provided the rest of us a bigger platform from which we could perform. Now, it was then the responsibility of the teams and the players on the field to be able to then bring those fans back whenever Beckham left town. It was a great success, and I think it marked a period in MLS in which it needed to take a step forward, and I think the league did.
Lastly, Nedum, how many derbies have you played in, and which one was the most memorable?
I think I actually played in 4, I think it was 4, and I won 2 of them. So the most memorable one was the one at Old Trafford in 2009. 2008, sorry, because it was the game that was commemorating the Munich disaster. You know, if anyone doesn't know about that, it's worth Googling. And we had special edition shirts. It was like a really emotional game and so on. This is under Sven-Goran Eriksson. And we won, and it was the first time we'd won there, I think, in nearly 30 years or something like that. This was at Old Trafford. This was with Ronaldo. It was prime time Manchester United. And to be walking off that field there, it was a really strange feeling because it wasn't normal. Like, City don't win at Old Trafford, not in the Premier League, yet still there we were doing it. And I remember, I'll never forget, as we were walking out through the corner just near the Stretford end, a fan ran round 2 stands, really angry, and then met us at the tunnel and gave us so much abuse, and it just felt beautiful because we'd earned the right to be hated. And I thought, this is fantastic. So that was probably the most memorable one for me, and it was a 2-1 win that day.
No, that's a nice one. Did you have any memorable?
Well, no, man.
I think as poignant as that, right?
I think what's memorable is that Nedum was so happy that people were yelling negative things at him. It's like, oh, it was so beautiful. Yeah, well, keep it coming.
It's because he knows that
that's when you
afterwards
know
it's
he's made
fine.
it.
Yeah.
In the future, he knew that he'd meet you at Moreno, and the bromance would blossom, and things would be okay.
Yeah. Look,
Yes.
I love me some
Yes.
Nedum.
Yes.
It's a different kind of guy, Nedum. I love me some Nedum.
Okay, I just want to go back actually to talking about our teammates, and I was just thinking, because Dan is probably one of the funniest people I know too, and my question to all of you, because you all know him, is have you ever known anyone as cheeky to get away with the things that he says?
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think I ever have in my life.
Oh, yeah. Look, I'll tell you a quick story about Dan. It's a recent story.
Right.
We were traveling to Spain for El Clásico
Right.
coverage, and we happened to be on the same flight. Now, we are in the sort of United lounge, whatever, and while we're sitting there, whatever, he is talking to everybody in that lounge. And I mean everybody. Now, the difference between Dan and myself is very simple. He talks to everybody, I talk to nobody. And so it's difficult for me to be around Dan because he's, again, socializing. We get to the gate, and he, I kid you not, was talking, this is true story, he was talking to a dog through the phone. It wasn't his dog, it was somebody else's dog who this lady was having a conversation with the dog because she was leaving the dog behind for I don't know what period of time. Dan busted into the conversation and then was having a conversation with a dog of a person he never had met up until 30 seconds ago. That's Dan Thomas right there. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, are we gonna get on the flight or what? Can we just get in, Dan? I don't want to have this conversation right now, but if you travel with Dan, that's what you get.
That's what's going to happen. Remember, I used to be his roommate, so if you live with Dan, there are some stories I actually can't even tell.
Yeah, and whatever he says it with a smile, and it's he looks like a funny character. He walks a little funny, a little quick, with the neck, with the collar popped up, and so he's kind of a cartoon character. So yes, you're right. He gets away with saying a lot of things that none of us would. Nedum's
giggling away and nodding away while we are having this conversation.
Yeah. The reason is the very first time I came on this show was before I was actually signed, and it was to do a segment about RSL. And I remember I was on this side of the camera, just in my house, and we were recording just like a 5-minute segment. And he was just staring at the camera. And now that I've been on the show, I understand why he does that and whatever. But he's just staring at the camera before we started recording. And as we recorded, he was like being really serious, and I thought, this guy is so weird. He's the weirdest guy I've ever done anything with. And then all of a sudden I met him in real life and I saw him through the context of the overall show. I was like, I completely misjudged him, but honestly, first impressions, I was like, huge issues here. This is probably not going to work out for me.
Gav, has he been out for dinner with you?
Oh, has he?
Yeah. No, we've been out. We got the various Champions League finals. We've had the various Dan stories. I just remember, and you can say this, that Dan's often mentioned the fact that Mrs. Thomas is Brazilian, and I think he tells a story of how Brazilians have a certain image, a certain idea of fun, and they're happy, delightful people. Talked about the time that you said, "Oh, why don't we go to Brazilian church?" And he imagined that Brazilian church would be, well, more Brazilian than it was, because in the end, it wasn't a lot of fun at all. There was no dancing, no socializing. He couldn't go around talking to everybody. It was actually a lot of praying and singing and hymns, and it was very, very serious. So yeah, I just remember his disappointment when he's telling me about it.
My last one, just to end it, is I always remember there was a guy at work that we used to try and avoid asking a question, because if you asked a question, if you needed help, right, it would take at least 6 minutes for him to answer any question.
Right.
But sometimes you really had to ask that question because you really needed help. Right. He was a local in Spain. And one day he started off on one of his rambles, and Dan just said, "Luis, is this going to be another one of those boring stories? Because if it is, you can stop right now." And everyone paused and thought, "Oh my goodness, what's going to happen?" And then everyone just laughed. Yeah. So as we say, Dan Thomas really can get away with anything. And he'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Extra
He's not
Time.
dead. This is not. It's not a eulogy.
We're just loving our Dan Thomas. He's back tomorrow.
He's still with us.
He is still with us. He will be here on this very show, ESPN FC, and answering your questions, and no doubt making fun of all his pundits on tomorrow's show on Extra Time. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.